Good morning, everybody. This is our Tuesday, July 7th, regular meeting of the Mason County Commission. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I always consider it an honor to select somebody and give them the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you don't mind, I'm going to indulge myself today and allow my son to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Robert, would you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Tim Sheldon.
Also here.
Commissioner District 3, Terry Jeffrey.
Here.
Item number 4, correspondence and organizational business. Do we have any correspondence to come before this body today?
Yes, we do. Monica Harley sent a letter regarding fireworks regulations. The Economic Development Council sent recommendations for the comprehensive plan update. Ken Van Buskirk submitted an application for the joint UGA Citizen Advisory Committee. And the Liquor Control Board sent a marijuana license application for No Bad Days Branch and a list of businesses with marijuana licenses due to expire in 90 days.
Did you mention this correspondence from Herb Gerhardt?
No.
I have that on my desk, so it must have.
Oh, that just came this morning.
Okay. All right, next we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into the introduction of our Facilities, Parks, and Trails Manager. Frank?
Thank you very much. I'd like to begin with a clarification from yesterday. We had a declaration of emergency and disaster relief on Friday because of the situation with the fireworks and the potential for fire. That declaration did not have an end time. We thought it was written such that it would have ended on Monday, but it didn't, so I just want to make that clear. There is action that will be required to declare that completed and ended. The fire districts at this point would like to leave it open for at least another week, and then we'll have a briefing on Monday to discuss what's a good time to end that.
I agree. As a rule, we don't usually put things on the agenda without a briefing, and then two commissioners agreeing, and then it can be put on.
Exactly.
Seeing that has not happened, if the commissioners are comfortable, then we will hold off and have our briefing and bring it forward next week. Thank you, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely, not a problem. Now I'd like to introduce our new hire, Jeff Vrabel. He's our manager of parks and facilities. He comes to us, he's been with in Shelton since 1990 and has worked in Tumwater as their facilities and maintenance and operations manager for the last 22 years. So I'd like to introduce Jeff to us, to you, and welcome to Jeff as becoming a member of Mason County.
Please come on up.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're hoping to.
Well, what I'm hoping to. Like Frank said, I've lived here in the community for just over 25 years. I'm married with 2 sons, both attended school here in Shelton. One's in Bellingham, the other one's still at home. It's actually a privilege. When I saw the opportunity to come serve my own community, I was excited at the opportunity. I had nothing to lose as far as, or I wasn't looking for work. I could maybe have found work further from home, but I couldn't find any work closer to home. It's 2.8 miles to the office. And I'm excited about that. A little background, I started with the City of Tumwater in 1993. They invested in me and my training, and our community gets to reap the benefits of that. I started out as a buildings and grounds maintenance worker, was promoted to facilities manager. Over the last 22 years, I've been their maintenance and operations manager, their facilities and contracts manager, their buildings and grounds manager, and we've come all full circle back to being just the facilities manager. I hope to bring the experience that I've had there to Mason County to help serve this community, where for the last 22 years, I've driven, the daylight hours been off-site, so to speak. I've driven over 320,000 miles. That's about 12 and a half times around the earth, and all I've seen was my house and Tumwater. This is a new opportunity for me, especially this late in my career. Like I say, with the experience that I'm hoping to bring and here, I'm basically getting to know my community. Just in the last, this is day 4 for me. Just traveling around town during the daylight hours, it's like it's new. It's new to me because, like I say, I've basically been AWOL from this community, and I look forward to serving and working with everybody, and that's about it.
Well, we're sure glad to have you here and appreciate you coming here. And please mark down somewhere for note that we are to send a box of chocolates to Tumwater for all those training and stuff they do.
It is nice to see it go the other way
I
around.
know. Thank you for being here.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, welcome, Jeff. Go ahead, sit down, sit down. I was just going to comment that there's so many people in this community that leave every day to go to work. And we have a huge, high proportion, 45%, something like that. I heard some numbers. I don't know, we know exactly what it is, but that's a big number of people, and you see it going the other way with all the lights coming this way in the morning. When you're coming home from Tumwater, all those lights coming the other way too. So it's an interesting phenomenon, the commute patterns and the job patterns. But thank you very much. We will certainly enjoy working.
Well, actually, it's a perfect example. We've had conversations in the past about perhaps talking with the radio stations about putting our job things on there. This might be a perfect example, so maybe we could have that discussion in the near future. I'd like to steal some more local people and bring them home. Okay, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next item, which is item number 4.3, which is a news release. Public Works payment transactions. Staff, Public Works, Erica, come here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yet another news release I have the pleasure to present to you, and this time it is a news release announcing that we finally are ready to accept credit card payments at our office at the Public Works building for utilities bills, but also at our transfer station in Shelton only for any kind of services customers have disposing of their refuse. So the following news release will be going out. Public Works Department is announcing that Mason County Public Works Utilities and Waste Management Department is pleased to announce that credit debit card payments will now be accepted at the Elks Hill Transfer Station for garbage disposal. Credit debit card transactions related to other department services such as water or sewer bills or permit fees are also accepted at the main office front counter located at 100 West Public Works Drive, Shelton, Washington 98584, and by phone. The credit debit card payment service is through Point and Pay and accepts Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. There will be a convenience fee associated with the use of debit and credit cards for payment transactions. If you have any questions, please contact Public Works at 360-427-9670, Belfair 360-275-4467, or Alma 360-482-5269, extension 450, or for Utilities and Waste Management, extension 207.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank you.
Next, we have item number 4.4, which is the announcement of a contract for County Road Projects 1975 Everest Bridge Rehabilitation / Preservation. Staff? You're not Melissa like that. Well, we're off on this thing all the way through. Please introduce yourself to the...
Yes, I'm Sarah Grice, the Engineering and Construction Manager at Mason County Public Works. In regards to the CRP 1975, we would like to announce that we have awarded to the apparent low bidder It's Purcell Paintings and Coatings out of Tukwila, Washington. And their low bid price was $450,370.
Excellent.
Yes.
Any questions or anything? Commissioners?
When's the job start, sir?
It's expected to start around the end of July. We have a pre-construction meeting coming up at the end of next week, so they're eager to get started.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Item number 5, that's our open forum for citizens input. This is your opportunity to speak on any item that is not on the agenda. If it is on the agenda, we ask that you please wait, speak about it at that time, and you'll be given an opportunity to give plenty of testimony or however you'd like to handle that. But if it is not on the agenda, this is your opportunity. Now, please bear in mind you're given up to 5 minutes to speak per person, but no more than 15 minutes total for everybody, so please be brief. With that being said, is there anybody who'd like to speak on any item that is not on the agenda? Your Honor?
My name is Tony Sheldon, Superior Court Judge, and I probably should wait until number 10, but I ask your indulgence because I have a juvenile offender
Any objection?
calendar. There you go. Thank you.
It's granted, thank you.
All right. As you may know, the Senate and the House have finally passed a state budget, and that's good. But I want you to make sure that you know that under this budget, there will be $154,000 coming to Mason County under the extraordinary criminal justice expenses. And that is a program that the legislature has to reimburse counties for aggravated murder cases. And we put in a request for $154,000 and we got our money. And I want to thank Senator Sheldon for his work in doing that. The House budget originally did not have any money for Mason County in this line, and we were fortunate to be able to get the full amount that we asked for. Thank you very much to all the departments that worked together to document the costs that we had. The Sheriff's Office, the jail, the prosecutor's office, public defense, and the court all put in little pieces of what the extra cost was for an aggravated murder case. And so thank you very much for everyone that participated, and we're very pleased to be able to bring the money to Mason County. Thank
Any
you.
comments? Yes, please,
I
Mr. Chairman.
know you have to go. Was the case the Longshore case?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
State versus Longshore.
State versus Longshore was the allocation because of that.
Correct. That was the only aggravated murder case that we've had in many years, and as you might remember, right on the heels of a very large number of other murder cases that did not have the death penalty as a possibility, but it really stressed our county financially. And I would just make one more comment, and that is in a criminal justice working group the other day, we talked about the possibility of getting these funds, and the city police chief, Chief Moody, asked, well, what about us? And unfortunately, the legislation just provides for reimbursement for counties, and the Longshore case happened to be a city case. And so that might be something that the legislature would be asked to look at next year. Why wouldn't the cities also be reimbursed under the same type of program?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can't you just beat him up in a family reunion?
Is there any, no, we're not going to count that towards the 15 minutes in case anyone else would like to speak at this point. Is there anybody who would like to speak on an item that is not on the agenda today? Hearing none, we will go ahead and move forward to item number 6, the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I'll second the motion to adopt this agenda.
It has been moved and seconded for the adoption of the agenda as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. Item number 7, approval of the minutes, June 8, 2015 briefing minutes and June 23, 2015 regular meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners approve those meeting minutes and briefing minutes.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the 2015 briefing minutes of June 8th and the June 23rd regular meeting minutes as presented. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. Next, we'll move on to our item number 8, which is our approval of the action agenda. All items listed under the action agenda may be enacted by one motion unless a commissioner or citizen requests that the item be removed from the action agenda and considered as a separate item. We will go ahead and read all the items on the action agenda and give you an opportunity to think about it for a moment. If you have a question that would help you to decide whether to take it off, we'll give you that opportunity to ask that question. But if you'd like to testify, if you actually have a comment or you want to really dive into it deeper and need more specifics, we will give you the opportunity to then have it taken off the agenda for a separate vote. With that being said, I will read item number 8.1 through 8.4. Commissioner Sheldon, if you would please read 8.5 through 8.8. 8.7 has already been removed. And then Commissioner Jeffries, 8.9 through 8.12. Item number 8.1, approval to appoint Gary Gordon to the Housing Authority to fill a term which will expire on March 30th, 2020. Item number 8.2, approval to add the Sergeant Oyster House to the Mason County Historic Register. This structure meets the listing criteria for the Mason County Historic Registry. Item number 8.3, approval of the resolution providing for the issuance of Belfair wastewater and water reclamation revenue bond not to exceed $1.2 million. Item number 8.4, approval for the board to sign the letter of support to the Washington State Parks and Recreation Committee for the sale of state parks property on Squaxin Island to the Squaxin Island tribe.
8.5, approval of the resolution for the distribution of the Public Utility District excise tax for Revised Code of Washington 54.28.090. Mason County Current Expense Fund will receive $596,858.94, and the City of Shelton will receive $77,783.02. 8.6, approval of warrants. Claims Clearing Fund warrant numbers 8025071 through 802251115 in the amount of $81,422.81. Claims Clearing Fund warrants numbers 8025315 through 8025558 in the amount of $1,409,165.14. Direct Deposit Fund warrants 22865 through 23244 in the amount of $574,316.22. And the Salary Clearing Fund warrant numbers 700-1092 through 700-1131 in the amount of $850,664.97 for a total of $2,915,549.14. Claims Clearing year-to-date total is $16,194,222.55. The direct deposit year-to-date total is $7,096,886.80, and the salary clearing year-to-date total is $7,509,160.28. And lastly, 8.8, approval to authorize Public Works Director to negotiate and sign a contract with Mason County Garbage Company Incorporated for recycling services.
Item 8.9, approval of the interagency agreement between Washington State Department of Ecology and Mason County Public Health to provide delegation and funds to Mason County Public Health. This is an ongoing agreement and has been budgeted for the 2015 fiscal year. 8.10, approval of the State of Washington Healthcare Authority Amendment Number 1 to contract K767ABCD local business activities. This contract provides funding to perform functions in the Access to Baby and Child Dentistry ABCD program. This ongoing contract has been budgeted for 2015 and there are no matching funds required. 8.11, approval of the Veterans Assistance Fund applications for food, $650, utilities, $1,796.71, and housing, $800, for a total of $3,246.71, as recommended by the Veterans Service Office. 8.12, approval for the chair to sign the settlement agreement between the Port of Shelton, Mason County, and John Bolander regarding the operation of a floating upwelling nursery system, FLUPSI, at the Oakland Bay Marina.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Now that that has been read into the record, I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have to help you decide whether or not to take it off the agenda. With that being said, does anybody have a question that would help them to decide whether to take it off the agenda? Hearing none. If you would like an item taken off for a specific vote, now will be your time. Is there an item anybody would like taken off for a specific vote? Commissioners, any items you would like taken off for a specific vote?
Mr. Chairman, 8.3, I think we have some people here that might, our attorney is here as well, and Frank Fitter is here. Might be good just to have a little more discussion about item 8.3.
Number 8.3 will be removed. Anything further? Anything else? Hearing none, I will.
Mr. Chair, I will move that we approve items 8.1 and 8.2, 8.4 through 8.12 on today's action agenda,
With the exception of.
with the exception of 8.7, which has been removed.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded for the approval of the action agenda items 8.1 and 8.2. Then 8.3 is removed for a separate vote. 8.4 through 8.12 with the removal of 8.7, which has been removed before the meeting began. With that being said, is there any discussion?
Just a comment, Mr. Chairman. Now we're at the, our treasurer's here today as well. Thank you, Madam Treasurer, for coming. Item 8.6, we've started something different this year. It's a year-to-date totals, which you might notice on the second page of the agenda today. And I think so it's interesting, I think, to comment, if you look at the direct deposit year-to-date and the salary clearing fund, you may correct me here, but I think that's, if you, around $14.6 million for half a year for the salaries of people that work in Mason County.
The direct deposit would be their salaries.
Direct
The salary clearing would be the taxes and benefits associated with that.
Okay. 14.6 million to run for half a year. So, I'm not making a comment that I think it's exceptionally expensive. It's just a lot of money.
People don't realize what it costs for the county. It's definitely not cheap, is it?
Definitely run by people.
Yeah.
That's one of your most expensive things,
Any comments?
besides roads. I do want to thank our Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, Tim Whitehead, John Dobson, and your legal team over at the court, and Barbara Adkins for their work on item 8.12 of the agreement. This agreement on page 3 is the crux of the agreement, and the settlement agreement is that there is better communication between the port and the county regarding any permitting that will happen on port-owned lands. And this is something that was brought to my attention the first time I took office, that sometimes that is not as consistent as they'd like. So I'm glad that we're able to come to this, and I look forward to strong relationships between our Department of Community Development and the port in the future on any of your projects.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate that. Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. Item number 8.3, approval of the resolution providing for the issuance and sale of Belfair wastewater and water reclamation revenue bond not to exceed $1.2 million. Frank, would you mind leading us on this one, please? Or would you, Treasurer?
I will defer to Frank.
Commissioners, this is a bond that the Belfair Sewer would issue. It's a revenue bond to be paid for from the revenue of the Belfair Sewer community. It's unique in that this is a bond that the county is placing for revenue or to create a cash flow for the Belfair Sewer, but it is also buying it as an investment tool. So the bond is being generated by the county as a revenue bond, and then the investments of the county are purchasing that bond. This is not to exceed $1.2 million. It is the terms are 5 years, 1.5% interest, which is somewhat higher than the interest that we're currently receiving in our investment pool, which is at 0.0
.08 last I saw.
or 9, 8 or 9, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, it's 0.13 right currently.
Okay, so it was at 1.09, it's 1.13.
That's point, not 1.3, that's point 1.
Point. yes.
0.13. This is
Compared to
1.5.
1.5, so more than 10 times, almost 15 times more.
And that's basically what the vehicle is. Any questions?
Just one, just clarification, I guess. So as a revenue bond, the deep pocket, we'll call this, for this bond would be the ratepayers of the Belfair wastewater system.
Based on the revenue generated into the fund for Belfair Sewer.
Right. It's not.
Not county obligations, it's not general obligation bond of the county.
Just those that are users in the
Correct.
system. Thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner Jeffries?
And then also just clarification that revenue is defined pretty broadly. So it's not just rates and.
Yes, revenue, all revenues into the
all
fund.
revenues into the fund. So should we find other opportunities to pay back this fund outside of rates and hookup fees, we can do that.
We can use that to pay down this bond.
And the beauty of this, again, is the idea that instead of paying so much more out by trying to go out for outside interests that could charge us, as we talked about right now, to findings as much as 7–10%, we'll be actually getting it at 1.5, but we're also making revenue because our investments are bringing in 1/10 to 1/15 of what this will generate for the county. So it's a win-win situation. Yes.
Excuse me, I would just note that the rate, the 1.5%, is in line with what other long-term investments of the county would be. So it's not low. In borrowing the money, you would pay a higher interest rate,
Yes.
most definitely. But as an investment side, the investment term of that is in line with what?
So we're not taking advantage of the county.
No, we are not.
Good. Anything further? With that being said, I will entertain a motion, please.
Do you want to open it for public comment?
Is there any public comment at this time?
That being said, Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the resolution providing for the issuance and sale of the Belfair wastewater and water reclamation revenue bond not to exceed $1.2 million.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded for the approval of a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of the Belfair wastewater and water reclamation revenue bond not to exceed $1.2 million. Any further discussion?
I just want to point of thanking Commissioner Netherland for bringing this idea to the commission, to our finance committee. It's out of the box thinking, it's creative, and you've worked really, really hard. This is one of many, many steps that you have worked very hard on in bringing solvency to our Belfair wastewater system. And I just want to thank you and give you the recognition due for bringing this idea up. It's definitely different. But I like the terms, I like the low interest rate mostly, and I like the fact that we are paying back ourselves.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
I would also concur with the statements. Commissioner Netherland has worked very hard. What I like about it is very flexible. It can be paid back tomorrow. It can be paid back in 5 years. So there's flexibility involved there. I think it's traditional. We've done an inter-fund loan for these types of things, but I think this will work. We have $1.5 million earmarked for the Mason County and rate relief for Belfair wastewater in the capital budget. So I think the things are starting to turn around for the financing of the facility out there. And I guess I always think back a lot of times when I was in my early 20s. I worked at the Quinault Indian Tribe. I was a VISTA volunteer. The first job they handed me was the paperwork on finishing the sewer system. It had been completed, but I had to do the paperwork. And There isn't any system I've ever experienced that gets off to a start that's perfect. You just don't have the ratepayers, you don't have the system of an operation. So this is starting, I think, finally starting to drive itself. So, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your leadership on the issue.
Well, I'm completely honored by your words for both of you, and I take from that point about the wastewater that it's a pretty blank position anytime you deal with the sewer.
It's not very sexy, but
Yeah.
it's so vital and
It's
important.
very sexy.
I agree, but very few people agree with me. It's economic development, for sure.
Any further comments? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion carries. Next, we are past our time next, so we are able to go ahead and move into our public hearing. We're going to open this public hearing. This is a public hearing to consider the following budget transfer to the 2015 budget. A is current expense, $1.2 million to fund number 413-0000-100-000 for the Belfair Wastewater and Water Reclamation Project Fund. Item B, current expense, $1,700 to Washington State University Extension Office. And item number C, mental health, $35,000 to probation services. With that, we'll go ahead and open up first with staff comment, and then we will give opportunities at that point for questions. Frank, are you leading the charge on this one?
Yes. The three items that we have for consideration are budget transfers. Two of them are out of current expense. One is for $1.2 million to authorize or give the ability of the Belfair Wastewater and Water Reclamation Project Fund to pay for the BOSS settlement agreement. Also $1,700 out of current expense to augment the WSU noxious weed office for their ER&R costs, and $35,000 to transfer out of the mental health tax fund to probation services for a partially funded position.
Are there any questions from the audience to staff in regards to the testimony he just gave? Hearing none, any questions from the commission?
Thank you.
I think it's pretty straightforward, and thank you for the presentation, Frank. And I should have mentioned also, Frank has done a tremendous amount of work on this financing with the wastewater project as well. Thank you. Thank you for your.
Okay, we are going to close testimony from staff, and we'll move into public testimony. Is there any public who would like to testify on this issue at this time? Any public testimony? Hearing none, we'll close the public testimony and move into commissioner deliberations. Commissioner, any deliberations?
No, I think it just bears explaining that the 1.2 is obviously so that we can have it into our budget to spend, because that wasn't budgeted. The mental health, I just wanted to explain, I do sit on the Mental Health and Substance Abuse Advisory Committee, which is the committee that makes recommendation on how we're going to spend the 0.1% of 1% sales tax for mental health and substance abuse. One of the requirements from the state legislature on using this tax is that you do create and expand therapeutic courts. And the court that was created through this tax is our Family Recovery Court. And these are families that have been potentially torn apart, or could have been torn apart due to substance abuse issues. The children of those families need representation through our Guardian Ad Litem program. And so these monies will pay for that Guardian Ad Litem program that represent the children who are involved in both the Family Recovery Court, and I believe this will also be extended to our drug courts. So I think that this is a good way to make sure that the whole family becomes healthy through the use of this monies, and I just wanted to make sure that the people knew how some of this 0.1% of 1% sales tax money is being used.
Any further?
Just comment, Commissioner, I happened to watch a little television last night when I was doing some paperwork, and there was a program on Channel 9. It was, I think, just a newly released documentary, and it followed two individuals in Seattle through this whole process of family reconciliation. And it was very educational, and to get an idea of how it's done other places as well. But sometimes we as commissioners aren't involved in, we don't sit in the courtroom, or we're not in the counseling sessions and all the things that happen. But I'll have to see if I can find a little more information about it. It's quite a good program to give background, especially for me, about the process.
If I may,
Please.
Mr. Chair, so I would invite anybody to attend at least the graduation of one of our treatment courts. That's the final end of the story, and the joy in that room is amazing. You see these children get their parents back whole and healthy. It's just wonderful.
It's kind of hard not to be supportive of it when you attend one of those. That's, it ruins you. You can't be impartial after that. Anything further?
Now, Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the following budget transfers to the 2015 budget. A, current expense $1.2 million to fund number 413. By the way, these numbers have so many zeros because of our new accounting system. Hopefully we can fix that. Number 413-000-100-000, Bellflower Wastewater and Water Reclamation Project Fund. B, current expense $1,700 to WSU Extension Office. And C, mental health, $35,000 to probation services.
I will second that motion.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the following budget transfers to the 2015 budget. Current expense, $1.2 million to fund item number 413-000-100-100-000, the Bellflower Wastewater and Water Reclamation Project Fund. Current expense, $1,700 to Washington State University Extension Office. And for mental health, $35,000 to probation services. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion carries. That hearing is closed. We will now move on to item number 10, which is other business, department heads and elected officials. Are there any department heads who would like to speak at this time? Brian Matthews.
Thank you, Commissioners. I just want to take a moment, Commissioners. What I've realized over 5.5 years is that we tend to get really busy, just like everybody, and forget to look back at the things we've accomplished. And I want to take just a second to recognize a number of people on this pay and point system that we've put in place for the landfill. One of the main things I've heard since becoming the Public Works Director is, why can't we pay with debit or credit card at the landfill? It had been making progress when Dave Lozier was here. We ran into some security issues with our former IT supervisor. That has cleared itself out. But what I really want to say is I want to recognize a few people for their effort in this. This effort was led by Jennifer Byerly, who's our Public Works Finance Manager. As a resident of the county, she'd always ask that question, why can't we pay? So she basically drove that. I want to thank Lisa Frazier, our treasurer, and her office for helping us put and implement that. She did a great job. And Erica Schwinder for guiding that effort to get that thing taken care of. It took a little longer than we had hoped, but honestly, the staff is figuring out. My philosophy is I'd rather make sure it's done right than have to go back and do it again. And so we were able to work through that and make sure that we were doing it right. And I want to recognize those folks. I also want to thank the Commissioner for their support on moving forward with that. And I just want to say, in the 5.5 years, that was probably the best interagency working effort that I've seen so far. So that is a bright spot. And actually, we're seeing some other things that are happening with good communication with our other departments. So thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other department heads? Yes, please. About time.
Right? It's been a couple of
This is a
weeks.
septic tank issue.
It is not a septic tank issue. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here. I have a couple things from WSU to share with everybody.
Introduce yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm Justin Smith, the County Director of Mason County Extension, here from WSU.
Is Smith really your last name?
It is. It is, yeah, I'm definitely Smith. One of many. So today I wanted to share with you the Master Gardeners Garden Walk tour that's coming up on July 11th. I'm sure you've seen the signs when you come into town here. That's going to be July 11th from 10 to 4 in Lake Limerick. The tickets are $12. You can go and see more information on the website, the WSU Extension website. Just You can search that on the Google or go right to the website. I also wanted to mention that we are going to be restarting the Cultivating Success Small Farmer Training Program in Mason County. One of the things that we're hoping to do this time around is we're going to be launching it in fall. Right now I am in the process of getting the staff to come in and help coordinate this and bring in the requisite people to be able to help provide the training, but we do want to be able to expand this program to include shore owners to look at shellfish cultivation as another opportunity for small farms and production in Mason County. So we're hoping that will be the first of its kind in the Cultivating Success in WSU. And I think that there are a lot of expertise in the area, and I think it has a lot of potential to provide economic opportunity for small landowners and shoreline owners in the county. So, if you have any questions? Yeah.
Please.
I just wanted to, in case you didn't know, Julie Horowitz, who used to be on staff at the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, is now with the governor's office and working on the Shellfish Initiative, and very much interested in reducing barriers of entry for small farmers into the shellfish industry. So I would encourage you to see if there's some resources to access there as well.
That's, I appreciate that. Anything else?
Anything else, Commissioner?
Or Department of Natural Resources also had a program years ago, but they don't anymore, that would encourage tagline owners to farm shellfish.
DNR, okay.
And thank you for bringing this back.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that, yeah, that it's something that we can do immediately, and yeah, we're pushing forward on that, so.
Potentially grow agro-tourism as well.
This is a potential, yeah, this would be a hope. This is, yeah, we gotta lay the foundations first and build up, so. That's
In all
what we're doing.
seriousness, we do appreciate you being here, and we do hope to see you on a regular basis as we saw your predecessor. The information you do bring is very important, and it's good for the community.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard again.
Thank you.
Is there any other department heads or elected officials who would like to speak at this time? Hearing none, we will move on to Commissioner boards and calendars. Who would like to start?
I'll go ahead and start. Following last week's meeting, we had a, let's see, we didn't have a following last week's meeting. We had our a lodging tax advisory committee meeting. We heard the first quarterly report from our new tourism promotion contractor, and very good numbers so far, and very good data mining. One of the things I'm very thrilled with is that they're able to track referrals from the Explore Canal website to local lodging facilities, and so that will help show value to our lodging facilities who do pay the lodging tax that pay for this. And we had a special meeting of the MACECOM Governance Board to review a proposed 2016 budget, and a special meeting of the Mason Transit Authority, and then followed by our commission meeting in Belfair on the 5th Tuesday. Very well attended for a hot June day. I attended the Mason County Housing Authority meeting to hear some updates on the potential opportunity to bring back the voucher program to Mason County, which is now being contracted by the Birmingham Authority. Turns out it is not possible. Had a meeting with staff on various budget issues, and then met with constituents, and then a meeting of the Pacific Mountain, Pac Mountain Workforce Development Consortium of Governments, and made some recommendations and votes on acceptance of new board members for the Workforce Advisory Board. And Mason County still has one more position open to represent business in one of our 4 industry clusters. We had briefings, yes, and then we had, of course, the 3-day holiday of the 4th of July, and then briefings yesterday. This afternoon I'll be meeting with John Bolander with the Conservation District, and then some constituents in the afternoon, and then Habitat for Humanity Finance Committee meeting. We're meeting with Scott Brewer with the Hood Canal Coordinating Council, some candidates for the City of Shelton Commission, and then I'll be attending the North Basin Chamber after hours on Thursday, so in case you vote as well. And then back here on Monday for briefings. Brings us to next Tuesday's meetings.
Commissioner Sheldon?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I missed our commission meeting in Belfair, the Tuesday meeting. I was in Olympia. And Olympia the next day, the next night, the next morning. Went on and on. I think we're very close to being finished, and I think we'll have probably a one-day special, we're in a special session right now, but we'll have a one-day meeting here as soon as everybody gets their calendar figured out. So it's a difficult task to do that, but people made other plans. So that should wrap everything up. I had a couple conversations, interesting conversations with contractors and people that are very interested in now that the Simpson transaction has been finalized. The last log has been so on downtown. So there are some, I think, some real good opportunities for contractors to start thinking about what work might be available down there on the waterfront. I've talked to the mayor as well, and also to the city administrator. One item that has been signed into law is the general operating budget, and there's $500,000 included in that budget for mill relief in Mason County. It's available to the county and the city, the local governments, and to the Economic Development Council. And it needs to be spent within the next 2-year period. So I did talk to the mayor about permitting, and I'm not a permitting expert, but one of the things I think would be an excellent investment would be an industrial professional who could help the city. It's not our we're not going to permit the new facility downtown, but the city will, and with that money, it would be an opportunity to hire a professional who is well-schooled and it may be a civil engineer to help with the permitting and fast-track those things, because there's a lot of people that would like to go to work. I know that the company is eager to take their place on the waterfront, so a great opportunity. July 4th was really we got to thank all the emergency services people who were well prepared. I think passing that proclamation or the resolution that we did gave them some assurances that our departments can act at a moment's notice, and it turned out to be pretty good, pretty safe, fire safe holiday, so that was great. And I'll be back on Monday. We have our briefings Monday morning and our Tuesday meeting, and that should keep us rolling. Thank you.
Okay, as I said, we did not have a regular meeting, but there were a few things we need to touch on because we did meet at different times. I did have a meeting with Bolander right after we had our transit meeting in Belfair, that one in regards to the parking rights, and we were there together for that. We were also there for the blessing and writing on the walls for the hub, which is the senior center up in Belfair. We had our regular briefings. We had a finance committee meeting, Oakland Bay annual meeting that we attended as well. We also attended a lodging tax meeting together and a Mason Transit Authority meeting together. We had a send off from Mary McClure from the Kitsap Regional Coordinating Council, and separately we met with Dave Herrera from the Skokomish tribe in regards to possibilities of working together on some things to loosen some things up to allow perhaps for docks or other things when we are at conflict. Regulatory subcommittee meeting this last week, and we had our briefings. I was on the phone several nights till 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning with legislators, each and one individually. And I'm going to take this moment to say something about Senator Tim Sheldon. This has been a banner year for Mason County. It's not completely finished, granted, but it looks like these things are going to go through. I want to point out that Mason County, just in the transportation budget alone is looking at close to $80 million. You know, we have a $67,000 or $67 million budget. We're looking at $80 million in that package alone. Not to mention, we also have success with money for the football field in North Mason, the $1 million to purchase the land out of Coulter Creek, 1.5 million for the sewer. This year, the list goes on and on. And I would be remiss not to take a moment and say that this has been a banner year and perhaps, you know, your biggest and best for Mason County, and it is very much appreciated.
Well, thank you. We'll see
very
how it
much.
turns out, but thank you.
Yeah.
And I know what, some days I have to leave early or something else, and I appreciate your patience with that.
So now, also, I have, so I'm going to go into next week. We have the EDC meeting. I have the National Association of Counties. We have our briefings. We have meetings with different developers, with things that are moving. All of a sudden, they're calling me and they want to sit down and talk about the different possibilities that may be occurring because of a bypass. In fact, that could mean a lot for Mason County. The things that I'm looking at, I also got a call from the Mayor of Bremerton again. She wants to sit down and talk about hookups and a company that she has coming on down there. Again, we'll be contacting more legislators today and over the next couple of days. So some things that need to be taken care of. A possible cemetery meeting, I say possible because there's some letters that have come out and that we may have to call for a special one. Alliance of Healthy South Sound, North Mason Chamber of Commerce after hours. And I have the biggest blessing of them all, and that is today after this meeting, I get to take my son to lunch. With that being said,
I do want to have a discussion, if that's okay. So, Commissioner Sheldon, the $500,000 for the mill worker relief, that was in the operating budget?
I think it's page 23 or something.
So it's paid, or it's passed?
It's passed and signed, yeah.
I'm wondering if we should have a discussion with the other entities that are eligible to use the funds to make sure we're all coordinating and in agreement how those monies should be used. With your folks' approval or recognition, I'd like to ask that we try to get a joint meeting arranged.
The city and the EDC.
City and
They were the two, they were mentioned as well. And Julie Murray was the staff person
Okay.
who helped us write the proviso in the budget.
Do you think it would warrant having her available?
It might be, yeah, Julie would attend. She works in the governor's office and, or excuse me, for the Ways and Means staff. So maybe we could have it in Olympia with her convenience or here.
Until after July, we'd have to have it here.
Yeah,
So the monies are available after
they're
July
available
30th?
today.
Today,
I do understand.
Or yesterday.
In
July 1st.
The nonprofits were also included.
okay.
But she pointed out to me that it's a $500,000 appropriation, but you can't spend $500,000 in the last day of the biennium. You need to spend $250,000 maximum in the first year and up to $250,000 in the second year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has to be,
And you say it's page 23?
if I recall right, I can't remember exactly.
I'll look for it.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, I move that we adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming.